What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of Art of Resilience. I'm your boy and host, Hussein Albayati, and I am with the infamous P.S. Styles, a.k.a. Patrick Sideris, a.k.a. stand in line for 6 hours to get a haircut, a.k.a. if you go to PSU, you know who Patrick is. Period. Patrick, I'm so excited for you, man, and for having you in the show because... What is that? Is that your phone?
Let me turn off
Man, what are we doing here?
I'm going to turn off the phone
It took me 15 tries to do this. What are you doing?
Turn it down. All the way off. The
All
other
right.
one's off.
I had such a good intro.
Go.
That was a great intro, by the way.
That's normal. You keep that going. We'll keep that going.
It is normal, for sure. And this is what I love about you, man. So check this out. I am super excited, man, because you guys, this is the third interview I've had with PS Styles because, the last one just didn't work out. The mics were off. Something happened. My mistake, my bad. So we had to come back and record another one. But I wanted to make it right, get deeper into the story, not only tell my aspect of things, but really tell my man Patrick's perspective on, growing this amazing community. It's not just a barbershop. It's so much more than that. And I'll let him sort of describe it in his own words.
First, before you start, I just want to continue to say that we're blessed to have you around, Hussein.
Thank you, man.
I'm thankful for your knowledge, your continued knowledge, your continued search of knowledge.
Thank you,
You're
man.
an amazing person. You help out the community, and you do more than many.
Wow, man. Thank you
More
so
than
much.
most, I'm going to say.
Well,
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for those words. But real talk, it's people like you who have always inspired me to go beyond my capabilities or what I think my capabilities are. So, and running into people like you throughout my life has, constantly pushed me to seek the inner truth in myself and bring out my gifts. Those gifts are infinite. So I'm grateful that I get to give them around my community. So thank you for recognizing that. I always appreciate you. You are definitely a brother.
So we can continue to bless others.
That's right, man. That's right. So let's get into this, man. Like, I'm excited. The last time we got to sit around and chat, it was a very unfortunate because I honestly didn't, the microphones weren't connected. So
we always have continued.
But we just had an awesome conversation. So it was good. But I'm glad we're back. So what I want to do, man, you have an amazing community around you, remarkable people that have been coming to this barbershop for a reason. And when I say people wait in line, I mean, you guys, people are here at like 4 a.m. waiting to get a haircut. But it's not just about the haircut. Yeah, 3 a.m, 4, 2 a.m. This guy has created something so remarkable that we have to, one, applaud his effort, and two, get to know this man's story and how he was able to create something so amazing that we can all gravitate towards. I've had the pleasure of knowing Patrick for so long, but now it's time to really put the microphone to his face and put the camera on him. And
Baby, let me know.
So Patrick, man, let's take it back.
Okay.
Start me off when you're young, man, talking about Tacoma and where you grew up, or
Yakima.
Yakima. I'm sorry, Tacoma.
My
What
wife's
happened?
from Tacoma.
Oh, that.
I'm from
So let's take
Yak.
it back, man.
Well,
let's start from
go.
zero.
Okay. Well, my father was originally from Egypt. He was born in Alexandria.
Wow.
And when he was young, he moved to Brazil. And my mom was born and raised in Brazil. So when she was young, she was real young, 18, 19, they moved to Washington. Yakima, Washington, right?
Immigrated. Family of immigrants.
So that shortly after they moved, my father was gone, right?
Yeah.
So he bounced. And so now we have a mother.
Yeah.
I wasn't even one yet, and my sister was one. She's raising 2 children on her own in America, you know, seeing snow for the first time, because she's from Brazil. So
Yeah.
seeing snow for the first time, learning English when we're learning English. So it was tough, you know what I'm saying? It was real tough. My mom worked hard. My mom worked really hard, and I love her for that. She's a rock, you know what I'm saying? She was tough. She was tough. She had to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And she never slept either. She never slept. She
They
worked
never
graveyard.
do. Wow.
And so it was just my mom raised us. She worked graveyard. I remember, like, she would get home. She always would get her French bread, you know, from Albertsons, and sometimes give us donuts. But yeah, we didn't have much, but we didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? We just, you know, when you grow up with, you know, just normal, you don't know
I know
what's out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you think stuff is normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one parent, and my mom would work graveyard, and I remember she would never sleep. And it was only barely like 1 hour a night. It'd be like 8 o'clock, and she's like, "Wake me up at 9, so I could get ready to go to work." I'm like, "What? You're sleeping an hour?"
Yeah.
If that, you know what I'm saying? Just power napping.
Yeah.
So yeah, she did that. She raised us tough and strong, and she was there for us. You know what I'm saying? So I love my mom for that, and I'll never forget that. So
Yeah, man. That's beautiful. So you grew up in Washington.
So I grew up in Yakima, Washington.
Yakima.
So Yakima.
Who's there? Like 5 people? 10 people or something like that?
Yakima's pretty grimy. So I'm not gonna lie, Yakima's pretty grimy.
He doesn't mean that disrespectfully. He's just saying.
So, like Yakima made me
who you are, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And growing up, like, so there wasn't social media or that much cable out. I don't even think we had cable.
No.
But we
if
had
you
those,
did, it was stolen.
Yeah, it was stolen. We had the bullets, and you know. Anyway, that's another story. So we're growing up Brazilian. There's a lot of Latinos in there, and the community. There's a lot of Mexicans.
Sure.
And so I'm growing up, and I'm young.
Yeah.
Some people don't know who I am, right? They're looking at me like,
what are you?
What are you guys? Me and my sister growing up. And we're Brazilian. And then they're like, where's Brazil? Back then, it was only barely World Cup.
Yeah.
People knew about Brazil because of World Cup and Royce Gracie. Like, MMA was just starting out.
Yeah.
So it was like, people were like, where's
Who are
Brazil?
you? Yeah.
Brazil is, and I'm like, and I don't, they're like, is that by Seattle? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe Brazil's by Seattle. I'm growing up, and I'm like, I don't know where Brazil is. I know my family's from Brazil. Maybe it's by Seattle. I don't know. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So people always try to put you in a circle.
Yes.
Of, you know.
Yes.
They want to put you in a circle of what category do you fit in? I never fit in any category in Yakima.
Yeah, man. So people trying to put you in these pockets.
People, trying to put you in. And I'm mixed with everything, you know what I'm saying? All over the world, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, so am I supposed to be like hang out with Mexicans, black people, white? Like, what are you? And I just hung out with everybody. You know what I mean?
Very
people try to put me in a pigeonhole of certain people, but I mess with everybody, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that's how it was. And I continued to build relationships that way. My mom raised me right to be respectful of anybody, especially, you know, I didn't like to be, you know, treated a certain way. So, So we grew up, it was tough, you know what I'm saying? Some days were tough, but, you know, I made it out of the act, you know? I made it out of the
And you have a brother.
Yeah.
What's his name?
So my brother's Robert, and I have a younger brother named Steve-O.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother is, he grew up in the Yak too. And
But
he moved.
Yeah.
He's 6 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved, you know, a few years. He moved to Portland too to get out of the Yak. He was, you know, his path wasn't too nice either. We have different fathers.
Sure.
And his father, you know, it's just tough. I just don't want to, I try not to talk about negative stuff. But
oh, no, I understand, man. I understand. And, you know, for me, it's we as human beings, look, just as much as we love laughing about the old times, we also know that laughter sits right next to pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's real. And I mean that in like the most positive way, meaning like, you know, you can't know one without the other. It's like fully knowing it. And so, you know, what my goal is with the show, and I've told you this, is to go and take a microscope to these areas of our lives to discover and uncover layers of what makes you resilient, because that's how, you know, you shaped up to be the person that you are today. All these areas, right? Whether it be laughter, whether it be tough times, whether it be growing up in certain places.
Stronger. Not everybody's like that.
Exactly. But your life experience.
I tell people, like, this is not for everybody, because I use it like as fuel. Like, I'm gonna be my father wasn't around. Like, I had a lot of anger. I couldn't even talk about it. I would seize and I would start crying. I wonder what it was, you know, until, you know, when you start developing a relationship with God, you start realizing I need to forgive. And that's one of the hardest things. That's one of the last things you could do that you do when you become closer to God. You have a relationship with God. You're like, what is it? Why am I still angry? Because, shoot, you still haven't forgiven.
Yeah.
No matter what, you don't forget.
Yeah.
Because it made me stronger. I'm like, I'm never going to be like that. Having children now, my 2 kids, like, it's crazy. Like, being without them a couple days to work on them being great. I'm raising my kids so they could be great. You know what I'm saying? We have a cheat code. We have 2 parents. My wife is amazing, strong woman. You know what I'm saying? She's been through a lot as well. Yeah. So
gotta get her on the show too.
What I'm not great at, my wife is great at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
What she lacks, anything she lacks in, I could take that over. You know what I'm saying? So it's both. Our kids are working. We know the cheat code. I call it the cheat code. We got 2 parents. Yeah. And if I'm tired, she won't be tired. So we're working on our kids being great. My kids already are better than I'm ever going to be. Already, their mind state. They're going to be great leaders. I guarantee you guys that. My kids are going to be great at something. Whatever they want to put to, they're going to be great. And it's not by accident. It's an everyday thing. I'm working on this every day. I'm passionate about this now because my kids are in the midst of doing so many things right now. Only at 13 and 8. He's soon to be 9. At this age right now, you got to work with your kids every day. You know what I'm saying?
It's a practice.
If you don't work with your kids every day, then it's just you know what it takes.
Man, I love that.
Meant for it. Some people are meant for it, but you know, even if you're tired, you got to go beyond exhaustion, and you got to keep working with your kids. And so that's what I use. I use that as fuel. My father wasn't around, so now that I have kids, it still confuses me even more. Like, how the heck was he not around? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Growing up and seeing, you know, I always gravitated toward people that could have been my father, been like a father figure. There's a few people in my life. Sure. Paul Kalina, he was a coach of mine. Von Ray Johnson, when I moved to Portland, he was there. Dr. Briggs. Oh, yeah. You know? I don't know. All these people were like a community to me. You know what I'm saying? They were there for me. I'm like, it's crazy. They were my father figures. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm thankful for that. You know.
That's amazing, bro. And you know, you talked about your mom. You know, I feel like we all have to go through some sort of struggle to really understand our greatness. And sadly, for some people, it is, you know, the missing of a father, the missing of a mother, the missing of both, the missing of the super wanting a sibling and never having it. You know, like there's always something, I feel like, when we're young, especially, that isn't necessarily missing. It's that we are not old enough to realize what was there, right? And for you, obviously, your greatness doesn't come from the lack of having a father. I think it was the plentiful blessings of a mother, you know, who was able to take on that role and then take on the other role and provide and do all these things. And so I think for me, when I look at your story, I realize, like, wow, you know, this person, it wasn't just the lack of someone in his life. It was also the blessing of having this person that took on, you know, like we had Leslie in here, you know, and he talked about his grandma, right? And because his mom and dad were basically not in the picture. And so, but he talked about the grandma and like how she really stepped into her, you know, her greatness and what that meant for him, you know, and both of y'all have a very, you know, and this is why I think greatness attracts greatness, you know what I'm saying? Have this story of like, yeah, man, of, yeah,
we
because
get along a lot,
yeah,
really well together.
100%,
it's crazy,
bro.
It's
and
like you as well. I mean,
it's a blessing, man.
greatness in a lot of people, and you got to keep your company around people that are motivated. I'm a firm believer in that too, and so you start hanging around with people that are successful. You're like, not for one reason or another, it just works out. You get
you
along
just
with
see
them,
the
and
world
then you're
differently.
Like, okay, I see. Okay, that motivates me to keep doing better.
Yeah, you just see the world differently.
And then, like, as far as exhaustion, I was telling you, like, because when my wife's out of town, I'm like, oh, this is a lot. I gotta take the kids here, there, food, wake up, go to bed, do that, right?
Yeah.
And just think, my mom did it year after year after year, and then while working graveyard and going to school too.
Wow.
Like getting her MSW, social work. She helps out people.
Right.
Every day.
And that's her gift.
That's her gift. It's
man.
Crazy.
And I think
cares
for her,
so much too.
and I think, you know, what's amazing, just looking at that right now, what's amazing for her is that she needed the practice to be a social worker, to bring herself fully to that work. She got practice, right?
Got practice.
Whether she wanted or not. And that's the thing for me too. Like my refugee experience, like you said, is my fuel. I call my state of mind the refugee state of mind because I feel like that's my fuel. That was my gym. That was where I needed to learn about life. Every person needs to learn about life in a particular situation. And it could be negative and it could be positive. It doesn't matter. What's crucial is that you learn from it. And I think you're the person that, you know, that when I came into your barbershop in 2004.
That's when I opened.
Right? It was like fall of maybe like October.
17.
Bro, I met you right as right as I started going to school.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, your barbershop was pretty fresh and pretty new at the time. I remember you're like, bro, I just got done painting.
Years ago. Almost 17.
And it was, you know, it was a profound experience for me because one, I have never really been to a barbershop. You know what I'm saying? Like that one that was cultivating community, cultivating a richness of people. And you were there all the time. This guy worked night and day and night, all the time, building his clientele, building the story, inviting people, helping people. You were essentially not just growing friendships, man, but really enriching our lives as well. I mean, I know there was a lot of students, a lot of athletes, a lot of professors, a lot, you know, just people walking around like, hey, I need a haircut. Like, oh, you can sit and chill. There's about 7 people ahead of you, and people would just hang out.
And
I think that was just so powerful, man. Like
when I started coming to Portland State, like.
So you went to school here. Tell us about that.
I went to Portland State, and I did track at the beginning, and then I was like, I'm gonna play football, right? So I did football a couple years. Yeah. Unsuccessful in football. Thankfully,
it's okay. Whatever you play.
Well, thankfully, I wasn't, you know, they were like, when people ask, oh, you played at Portland State, what'd you play? I was a sideline specialist. I was on the sideline a lot. Sometimes I didn't even know where my helmet was.
Yeah, you just chilling.
I'd be like, where? Like people cheering for my number. Like, look, I'm not getting in. So I don't know why you're cheering for me. So I stopped that, and I got into track. So I started doing track. Thankfully, I wasn't that good in football in college, and I was semi-successful in track, but I met my wife on the track team. Yeah. God's blessing, you know what I'm saying? I met my wife on the track team, and we've been together since, you know what I'm saying? So, but while I was doing all that, going to school, I was working too, and we would do community service, and so I was busy. Like, so when I was done with college, everything got a little easier because I was constantly grinding. Yeah.
But even when you were in college, you were cutting hair.
Yeah, I was cutting hair.
That was like your thing.
The whole time.
That was your like side hustle.
That was that's how I got to eat.
I love you, man, because we're gonna connect that to something even dope. But yeah,
because we were in college, I didn't have nothing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I was striving to do better, and you know, like having fun at the same time. But I was like, also, I had my mind right, you know. Yeah. And that's how I made money. I cut hair. Yeah. And then when I graduated, you know, that's how I was like, you know, I was gonna try to get into some type of marketing or something. A couple months into that, trying to find after I graduated, I was like, I'm gonna work for myself.
So,
what am I doing? I need to have my own business.
Yeah.
So this is when, like we talked about last time, this is when we said it's not, what did it say? It's not popular to say, I don't like having, like, oh, I'm gonna have a list of goals I want to do. When I want to do something, or when I just want to, like, I recommend if you guys ever want to do something, just do it. Like, I didn't have the money to start a business, but for this business that I started, I didn't need to have a lot of money to start the business. You know how bare the shop was, you know, and
I remember you had one chair, one mirror, and a couple clippers, and some chairs.
Started, but I already knew because I grind so much. I used to go around and cut from
You're
door to door.
building clientele.
I was building it. I kept building it. So I opened up the shop. You know what? I had to go to barber school after I went to college. I had to go to barber school.
Yeah.
Went through that real quick.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I did that. We'll talk about that another time too. So I got done with that, and then this is the first place I looked. I looked in that building, and I said, it was empty forever. I said, this is gonna be a perfect place. I'm gonna have the shop.
Yeah.
People could come to me now, and I don't have to drive around to go cut from place to place. And her name is Kate Turan. She owns multiple buildings on this block, right across the street from Portland State. I found her name and number and called her. Just think if you had, like I was saying, you had a 24-year-old calling you up saying, hey, no, I got it. I'm gonna run this business. I'm gonna set the barbershop up in the front of this area, because it's an old 1905 like duplex. So it has like a New York style, you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
So it's old school. The place was old in there, and we renovated it. You know, and I'm thankful for Kay for trusting me and believing in me finally, to where I talked her into it, and she was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We'll set you up with a lease, and then I haven't stopped since, you know, and that's opened me up to more things. You know, like you said, I was here. I wasn't gonna fail. I had no choice. I wasn't gonna fail. So I got married a year after I opened the shop, and then eventually we had our first child. So, like, I wasn't failing. I was not gonna fail. You know, this was it. I would stay here sometimes from 9 to 9, and then I would grind. I would grind. People would call me 8:30 at night. Bruh, can I get a cut?
Come on.
Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it started. That's how the grind started. You know what I'm saying?
So, man, I love that, because, you know, what we do in college sometimes, or like those early the early 20s, and like where we're still young and trying to figure things out, but sometimes a talent starts to surface, right? Like a deeper talent. But what's amazing, you know, and we'll talk about this deeper, what's amazing is how that talent then is backed by your why, which is like that fuel, right? And for me, like my refugee experience when I was going through college was like the fuel of why I needed to succeed at t-shirt printing on the side, because it was like, that's how I ate. Remember, like, I came to you, I rented I was like, bro, I need some space. I have this little print shop thing, and it's literally in my room right now. You're like, well, how much space you need? I'm like, bro, like nothing. I need a room. I was like, but I need to be close to Portland State.
The dungeon.
You were like, dude, let me show you the basement.
The dungeon.
So we go in this dungeon. I'm like, I'm renting this. What do you need? You know, you're like $200 or something. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Yeah, I was, you know, it was bro. You gave me it for free. Let's just be real.
Some months were good.
So check this out, bro. So I rented that from you, and then I had no idea how I was gonna pay. I didn't know anything, just like you did. You know, and that's why our stories like really parallel. And I think that's why you felt for me in the sense of like, I was right behind you, younger brother, you know, pursuing his dream and trying to figure things out while going through school, and you know, just trying. That was the in caps, right? Just trying. And no one knows what the story entails. Like, I didn't know it was going to lead to the printery and like printing for Nike and like doing all these amazing things that I got to do, speaking for schools and all this stuff. I'm like, bro, it's traveling to India. Like and I never knew. All I wanted to do was make, $150, $200 a week to like, I knew that was my goal. It was like $250 a week so that I could pay for food and I could pay for my gas and get my ass to school and finish my studies. Because I knew financial aid was going to like help me take care of like little things. Yeah. And that was my intention. But then when I graduated, I was like, there were so many people that I built relationships with in the past like 4 years because of the opportunity of working in here. That I built so many relationships, and people just kept hitting me up for t-shirts. And I was like, well, I can't get a job in the architecture world because it was 2010. It was still in a recession. It was terrible. And I couldn't get a job for the life of me anywhere. So it was like the perfect moment of like, you know what? I'm gonna go work for myself. My boy Patrick did it. My other guy did it. These guys are doing it. And if I fall, I have some padding. I got my brothers that can help me. You know what I mean? And having that reassurance was like the supportive structures. It was support in the sense that I really needed to know that people were gonna support me in my visions. And so knowing that gave my why an extra push to further take the print shop to the levels in which I did, And it was people like you that believed and saw in that potential long before I even saw it in myself, and how I was able to continue pursuing my dreams. And so, man, like, let's talk about that, because it's a very important layer of resilience here. Your ability that when people come to you, they come to the barbershop, this is something that, look, you come here and you cut hair, and we'll talk about your art for sure in a moment. But you come here to do something more than that for the community. I know there was a few times, man, when I came to you and I was crying, I was like, dude, I didn't get in the architecture program. Like 2 times, and then finally I made it the 3rd try. But those 2 times I wanted to quit school. And I came to you and I was like, dude, I'm done. I was done. And like, walk me through that, man, because you helped me stay on that path and stay pursuing my dream. Because I don't mean to make you emotional, man, but it wasn't just me that you do that for, dog. You help so many people not give up.
Well, dang.
I'm sorry, bro.
Look at the weather out.
It's too sunny.
Dang, Hussein.
But it's more of a thank you, man.
So,
take a breather. It's all right. We got time.
We're gonna get into there.
And then we'll go, man, and then we'll talk about your art.
People help me out, right? So I always tell people right now, I don't have to cut hair, but I have to cut hair. You know what I'm saying? I am only open from 6:30 to 11 a.m. now, because I do real estate in the afternoon, and then I got the kids. They got all kind of stuff doing in the afternoon. Sure. So I have 3 different days in one now. And I don't have to do, but I have to. I feel like God put me here to make this a platform. So I could serve for God through this platform, you know what I'm saying? Because I could be here for people, like a young you, or like somebody that is interested in something. And I'm like, I know so many people now. I'm blessed to know so many people. So now I'd be like, oh, you like this? I know someone in that. So I tell them, I said, look, I'm going to connect you with this person. There's nothing else I could do after that. You got to continue to do this. I try to lead them to the water. I can't teach them to drink, though. I got to lead them to the water. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm doing that for a lot of people because that shit makes me feel good. Like, I want them. I love when people succeed. There's a lot of hate in this world. They're like, when someone does good, they're like, oh, man, I could have done that better. Yeah. No, you couldn't have. No, you couldn't have. Because that's what I thought, too, I tried to start a food cart, and I'm like, everybody's doing, I could do a food cart. I failed in stuff. I failed in things before.
Yes.
But I realized, like, there's like endless possibility in other things. I can't just continue like this. I didn't have passion in that. I just thought like, I could do that too, right?
Make some money, yeah.
But I didn't. It was unsuccessful, and I stopped after a couple weeks. Yeah, right?
I remember.
So I stopped just like that. I stopped when I made like $20-something in one night, and then somebody walked by late at night and was like, "Hey, I'll give you $50 for a cut right now if you go to the shop." I'm like, dang, I just been here for like, I had to prep, I had to do all this stuff, but that was crazy. Like, and I'm thinking like, why don't I just go to the shop? What am I doing? This is not my passion.
You know
what I'm
dude,
saying?
I love that. Can I pause you there for a moment?
Yeah.
I love that you went and told that story, because you didn't talk about this last time. You didn't talk about failing. Yeah. And I love failing forward, failing to understand. It's like when you're in a car and the GPS takes you, you're like, man, this ain't the address I'm supposed to be at, right? Like, yeah, exactly. But like, you trusted something that, you know, isn't necessarily perfect. But here's the cool thing: you tried, right? And but what that trying in that moment did was pivot you back, right? Or pivot you to be like, you know what? I'm going to look at my talent or gift even differently. And I think, because I remember that. And then when you made that shift, when you came back to the shop fully, like your presence was there, you were a different person. Meaning, like, I remember this crystal clear. Meaning you were fully present. You weren't distracted anymore by this other thing or this other, because you knew that your gift lied here, and it was more. This is, I think for me, that's when I realized it in you, that it wasn't about the barbershop. Like, it wasn't about cutting hair anymore. It was like, oh man, I have this platform that I could do so much with and connect people and do all these amazing things. How can I further that more? And I saw that within you. And that was like right as I was graduating. And so I knew the shop was going to pivot to what it is today. Yeah, and so that's very powerful though, to recognize when we're trying different things, like, go ahead and try it. But like, just because you failed at something, it doesn't mean that's the end of the road. It just means you got to like churn back around, find your way back and do your thing. Which I love that.
Yeah. And that's when we've always, since we were married, we've been getting properties here and there, right? And so I started having a knack for that, and started realizing it's sort of like the same thing, but just on a different scale. Meaning, they're like, oh, it's grimy. Like, there's certain aspects of real estate that are grimy, right? Like commercial real estate, grimy. You know what I'm saying? Foreclosures, grimy, right? But you know what I get to do? I'm working with people that first-time homeowners, per se, or they're selling their house. We're starting a new chapter. I get to start creating a new chapter in their lives for them, you know? I'm trying everything in my power to make everything right for them so they could start a new chapter in their lives, from apartments to now they got a backyard. They don't have to worry about their neighbors or people above them or below them. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about it. Yes.
So this is what I get to do. And this is like, I'm like, real estate's sort of like cutting hair. I'm changing lives one cut at a time. When someone walks out of that chair, they get in the chair and they're like this. Oh, I've been up on. Grimy, looking nasty. Like, what are you even doing in here? You're disrespectful for even coming in here like that, right? So they get a cut and they're fresh. They don't even need their glasses no more. You know how many people leave their glasses in the shop?
Wow.
They walk out with their glasses.
They feel so good.
And I have a mirror right before you walk out of the shop.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, look in that mirror. Look in the mirror. I did this to you. Right? But it changes their lives. And like I said, it's not just that. We get to, like, people, for some reason, when you're cutting someone's hair, they open up. Even like the toughest dudes.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about grimy dudes, tough dudes. People that would knock your head off, right? I've had people in there, like, crying in the shop. I've had people in there opening up to me because they trusted me. They know I'm not gonna like tell their whole story directly or talk about it. I'm not gonna judge them. You know, we have this shop. Multiple people come in there from all over the world, coming to this shop, right? And people get to take off their masks. No pun, right? They get to take off the masks are on, guys. The masks are on.
Mm-hmm.
The masks are on in the shop now. But they get to take off their mask, meaning they're at work all day, all week, and then they could come here, and they could be themselves.
Yes.
We could talk about what we want to talk about respectfully,
Yes.
friendly banter, whatever you want to talk about, and we'll have an open conversation, and it gets deep, and it gets serious.
Bro, do you know how many times I've come to you asking you for advice and relationship and in life and everything? Every time I sat in your chair, it was not only that I got a haircut, but because I was able to get something off my chest. And there's no replacing that. It was, for me, it was like, it was honestly, man, and I think this is why a lot of people like really love your barbershop specifically. It's a moment of therapy. It's a moment of release. It's a moment, like you just said, it's a moment of like, let me just take off this skin that I have to put on, this armor, man, especially young people like us of color, that we have to go put on these masks, put on this armor, and go out in the world, and then not allow all the BS that we are faced with impact us in a way. What's that?
And forget about it.
Yeah, and we walk in here, we just take off the armor, it's like, oh my God, a familiar face or familiar faces. Yeah. And I'm in this safe place. I can talk about my life. I can talk to you about my wife. I can talk to you about when I want kids. I can talk to you about, how are your kids? What's up with little man? Is he hooping? Like what, and that's for us young people of color, what people don't understand. Dude, I look forward to getting a haircut. I tell my wife this all the time. I look forward to it because it is a moment where I can just sit back and reflect on the last 2 weeks or the 2 weeks that are coming and just be in the moment of feeling blessed, feeling alive.
And I've learned that not telling people what to do. Over the years, maybe I might have been like that, but now it's telling what works for me. You know what I'm saying? Give suggestions and tell them what's actually worked for me.
Well, yeah, your mentor.
Because I've been through so much.
Yes.
Like, or if I haven't been through that, I know someone who has. Mm-hmm. Oh, my guy been through the same thing.
Yes.
This is what he did. You know what I'm saying? I said, actually, you could call him.
Yeah,
and I
man.
guarantee most people that I know that, that I've cut their hair over the lifetime, the span.
Yeah.
If I refer them to somebody, they'll take the time. I'll be like, I'll text him or I'll call him like, hey, this dude should call you. If he doesn't, that's his fault.
You've done it for me.
If he does, you have to talk to him.
Dude.
Oh, no, I got you.
Right, like it is, you are a connector. You are a contributor, and I love how much you take serving so seriously. And in all that you do, you embed who you are in everything. You are the purpose. You are the gift. What I love about your commitment to service is that it just comes from a place of, what I believe is how you connect to your mother and your urge to be of help. Because, as an older brother, I'm sure you had the burden of, taking a little bit of the lift off of your mother. And I just appreciate that so much about you, and I really wanted this conversation to happen so organically, in which it did today.
We talked about completely different things.
Yeah, definitely. But I think this one is the most powerful one because we went deep. But I think ultimately, man, like what I respect about you the most, and what I believe other people do, is your commitment to serve others. And the way that you do that just so happens to be at a barbershop chair, which now led, into real estate, which now leads into how you help your kids reach their own greatness. And, how you've helped all of us, I believe everybody that sat in your chair.
I'm still learning from people.
Exactly.
Younger people. I ask young kids, because, you can't ask like older people, like what's fresh right now is the young kids. Mm-hmm. When I ask them, because my kids are doing all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. When did you I ask these young kids, it's like, well, when did you realize that was your passion? You know what I'm saying? When was that pivotal moment where you were like, I'm just going to stick to this? Because we're we got them at a wide spectrum of a whole bunch of things, because eventually they're gonna find what they love to do, and everything that we have them do, it's 100%. We don't just play.
Yeah.
You're gonna compete and you're gonna dominate.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to dominate, and if you don't, we're gonna keep working on it.
Yeah.
Progression. I'm talking to my kids a lot about progress. You know what I'm saying?
Practice.
Every day.
Yeah.
I even had the kids watch a Kobe interview, and it's with this Lewis Howes.
Oh yeah.
He's an author. Amazing person. And this guy, I even had to call my boy Jew. Who's this white dude interviewing Kobe? And he's not just asking, oh, how was the game when you played against this guy? How was
it's
that?
a real deep question.
He got really deep. And he said, he got deep. He talked about his father. He talked about he was young, and one summer he didn't score 1 point. And then he was hurt. He was crying, and his dad went up to him. He's like, you know what? Regardless of what happens, I love you. And I was like, oh, I was like, oh my God, I love you. You know what I'm saying? He said, regardless. And he said, that made me relax and realize, like, okay, either way, my dad's going to love me. He said, forget that. I'm scoring 60, though. You know what I'm saying? He said, if you scored 100 or 60, 0 or 60, I'm going to love you regardless. He's like, screw that. I'm scoring 60. So every year he kept getting better. It's not one day. It's progress. You know what I'm saying? He said, it's simple. Some kids work out twice a week, hour and a half, right? It's simple math. If you work on something every single day, leaps and bounds, you're going to be better than that person automatically. So why not work on something you're passionate about to do every day? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. I love your passion behind that, because, my father taught me very similar things. I was very fortunate. Though I didn't have a home, though I was stuck in that refugee camp, living in a freaking tent,
That's tight.
I had the most supportive structures, from brothers to brother to mom to dad. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate, because that's the thing he told me, right? He's just like, I want you to paint everything red for a month. Like, use the color red and just red, and then black, and then blue. So that's what I did for years. Not a whole lot of people. I want you to just use the pen. Like, my dad was my coach, mentor. He's like, you're not gonna touch anything until you're done with, until you see, like, the pencils, the color pencils. He's like, until they're down to the stubs, I can't get you anything else. So you got to use them, right? You see the sketchbook, I want every square inch of it covered, right? And so he would give me these challenges, right? And I would just crush through them. I took them upon myself because I wanted to get as good as he was. I was like, man, it's so tight. I looked at this painting and I start crying because I see the kid in the painting crying. And I'm like, how did you do that? Why am I looking at this thing and crying? Like, I'm like, I'm a little kid wiping my tears. And he's like, son, there's a transfer of energy. Yeah. And one day, you have to understand your tools. You have to understand, you have to build memory. Your fingers need memory, and you have to give them the memory that they need in order for you to be able to transfer your emotion. He's like, emotion is the last thing you get to transfer into something. And whatever it is, he's like, it's not just your painting. It's people, friendships, graphic, whatever you want to do. But you have to train yourself with the tools and properly respect them, clean them. He made me clean my brush, bro. Like, he did things that a lot of other people wouldn't do. And sometimes I hated him for it, right? Like, sometimes I resented him for it. Like, even growing up in America, he was extremely strict. I mean, like, I'll be real. One time he slapped me so hard for sagging my pants, like my ear's still ringing. You know what I mean? But I love him for it. Yeah.
Your parents are from a different country.
They will do that. They will do that.
There's no like, oh, call CPS. Yeah.
No.
You can leave if you want.
But what I believe, yeah, you're right, 100%. What I believe he was trying to do was pass on a level of like, hey, you're only as great as you want to be, but I want your want to be as high as it can be, so that when I leave, you can be able to transfer the energy. Yeah. Man, the last thing I did, this in 2020, one of the most powerful things I did, I think, in 2020 was paint him.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And that was the moment in time where I finally felt like I transferred my emotion onto something.
You spent time with him.
So much time with him. Every time I look at it and really go there, bro, I tear up. And that took years to cultivate, years and years and years. And you've seen me paint, you've seen me do all kinds of things. And so, man, that's what, that's a layer of resilience that I really love talking about, is the practice. Mm-hmm. A practice in which we get to practice the thing that we want to do. And it's free. It's free to us to the level at which we want to bring it out. And I love that you brought the Kobe experience, all these kinds of things. But it's everyone. Everyone can practice anything. And I love that, because it goes into our next topic, which is, I'm going to wrap it up with this. But like,
topic? What are we talking about?
Which is, how do you help people? Like right now, there's a bunch of people listening, whether they're barbers, stylists, artists, designers, people that are just starting a business, people that are starting anything. What would you say? Like my nephew, man, he's becoming a barber. He's just finishing up school, right? He's been dying to meet you, by the way, which I'll bring him here soon. It was going to be a surprise, but he listens to the podcast.
Nephew.
So, if my nephew was here, what would you tell him, man? What would you tell him what would you tell him to seek his greatness?
You got to do what you love to do. It seems like your nephew thinks he's going to love this, right? All aspects of it. You got to look all around it. And it's just not cutting hair, like you said. You're going to be a voice for a lot of people, You have to fully commit. This is not partial. It's not half. It's not even 99%. If you want to do something you're passionate about and you want to be successful, you got to fully commit to it. You got to keep going. You got to motivate yourself every day. And you got to understand that what you're doing to motivate yourself and to be successful, it's going to help the next person. It's going to help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I say. You got to just commit. You got to commit to that. Just keep doing it. You got to keep grinding it if you're passionate about it. Like I said, you can't just do stuff that you think you could make money. Well, people do that, but that's just not the way. That's the way.
Like you'll make your money. Let's be real. You'll make your money. You'll make your things.
Yeah. Things come and go, but what you're truly passionate about, that will help you live your life
fully.
People say, it's almost 17 years. So people, when they tell them I'm going to be 41 next month, right? Next month on the 13th. So I'm going to be 41. But I still look better than most that come in this shit. No, I'm playing. No, it's just because I'm not stressed out about things.
You're feeling good. You're living your life.
When my wife, she first asked me, "Are you gonna go to work? You're going to work?" I said, "No, I don't go to work. I'm going to the shop." You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't go to work. I haven't had to go to work in years. Over 2 decades, I haven't had to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't go to work. I go to the shop.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not work to me. It's what
I love
to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you love to do. And don't look at it as being work. You start looking at it being work. I know a lot of people that go to work and they come into the shop and they, work, it's so stressful. And I got to wake up in the morning. I'm up early.
Yeah.
Go to bed late and I wake up early.
Yeah.
And if I need to catch up on my sleep, I'll sleep in random times.
Yeah.
Like I'll be watching a show
Dude,
with the
I am
wife.
the same way.
I watch a show with the wife and I'm like, the credits are on. I'm like, when did I go to sleep? She said, when it started. You went to sleep when it started. I'm like, I needed to catch up. We'll watch it again. She's like, I'm not watching the show twice now. So
I love that,
just
man.
Keep going, man.
I love that. When you wake up, when you want to wake up early, I love when you said that. When you want to wake up early because you don't want to miss a minute of the day, that's when you've hit something amazing, when you've struck gold. Mm-hmm. I think, for me.
I'm blessed. So thankful
Yes.
for that. So thankful.
Yes. God is so good. And you're right, man, but you've been chipping at it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about you. I appreciate everything that you've done for me and this whole community and everybody that I've met here, man. From Philly Phil to, God, I could just probably list 300 to 400 people that I've met here that have helped me in some shape, way, or form, to be honest with you, man. It's a beautiful community, and I'm grateful that I walked in this barbershop and met you, man, because I definitely met a distant brother. But not distant anymore, and we were able to reconnect and just build something amazing together. So lastly, man, this is the question that I ask everybody in one word. What is your state of mind?
I guess, kind of what we said last time. Forward, because we always constantly got to move forward, You could always look back to remember to help you move forward, but you always got to move forward. So definitely a forward state of mind.
I love that. Well, you heard it.
I love you, man.
I love you too, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's going to be a great episode that a lot of people will learn from, and I'm grateful that we finally got it recorded the right way.
We'll see.
Yeah.
See how that works.
So there you have it. Forward state of mind. I'm your boy Hussein and host of the Art of Resilience show. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I hope that you learned something today, picked up some gems.
Cause even though times got rough, you never turn away. You were right there. And I thank you.
Man, I'm telling you right now, not only do you get a nice haircut at Pia Styles, you will get some singing. You will get some love. You'll get some connections. You'll meet people that you never thought you'd meet. So if you're in the Portland area and need a cut, please come check out my man. But you got to be here early to get a haircut.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. That's how it is.
That's not guaranteed.
It's like getting the rarest, newest pair of kicks.
Yeah.
It's really like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I love that. But you heard it here. Forward state of mind. You guys stay tuned. Take care.
Boom.
Peace. Hey, wait. Just before you go, I have a little more to give. I want to give you a special discount code. But first, I hope you enjoyed our newest episode, recorded live in our Art of Resilience mobile studio. I want to give a huge shout out to our main sponsors, the Center for Retail Leadership at Portland State University. Look them up at pdx.edu. Also our friends at Portland Gear with portlandgear.com and Diaspora Coffee, an amazing company helping create jobs for refugees locally. I want to ask you though, are you struggling to build a good habit, overcome some self-doubt and fears, get focused on what you want to do, build a business, start writing that book and story, simply setting up some goals to achieve this year? Well, you need some habits. And in order to build habits, we need daily practice. You got to join the Resilience Club, which happens on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 a.m., where you are welcome to join for free and get into the best accountability club. Look, it's tough sometimes, and we don't have to feel alone in our journeys. We need some sort of push and someone to help guide us. Don't take my word for it. Look up the scientific facts behind accountability groups. You can join us easily as texting the word resilience to 503-461-1262. You can support us in two ways. One, by visiting refugees.com, poking around, and you may find a t-shirt or a poster that inspires you. You can use the code SPECIAL20 for 20% off. This helps keep our podcast going and gives back to the refugee community. Two, if you want to further sponsor our work and be involved with our Art of Resilience project, please get in touch through refugees.com. You can also share this episode and help us amplify our work to inspire and motivate. Thanks again for listening in. I hope to catch you next Wednesday for our newest episode. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.